So Bill Belichick is not a Hall of Famer. But before we even get into all of that, look, I've been hearing the rumblings. Let me tell y'all something. I'm not one of these sit up straight, put your shoulders back, and talk to you just like this. I'm not a commentator, right? If you like that type of shit, it's people out here that do that. Go rock with them. I'm gonna give it to you straight. This is barbershop talk. We gonna vibe, we gonna rock, we gonna have a conversation. And we gonna talk sports casually. That's what we do here on this channel. So if you rock with that, drop a sub, man. That's what we do. But the conversation about Bill Belichick not being a Hall of Famer is something that we need to have. I posted on my TikTok when it actually went down, and I needed a couple of days to gather information and actually process what's really going on here. Bill Belichick may not be in the Hall of Fame, right? Now, as a first ballot, which is very important. People try to minimize it. Oh, as long as you get in, you're okay. Being a first ballot really isn't that important. It's only 200-something people in the Hall of Fame. Just to be in the Hall of Fame is an honor. You have valid points with those statements in that assessment, right? But to a certain degree. I don't care how you want to slice the pie. It's still an apple pie. And at the end of the day, being a first ballot actually does mean something. Because first ballot Hall of Famers are guys you look at and there's no discussion. Bill Belichick is one of those guys. And you need 50 votes, right? 40 out of 50 to become unanimous, quote unquote. And he didn't meet the criteria to get enough votes to become unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer. Crazy to me. I shouldn't have to sit here and spew out reasons for why Bill Belichick is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's been in the game longer than anybody. As a defensive coordinator, worked his way up with the ranks. Giants, Cleveland, Patriots, ran away, right? Ran away. I shouldn't have to sit here and explain to you why this guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer. For Christ's sakes, his defensive game plan for the late 80s Super Bowl when he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants is in the Hall of Fame. His game plan is in the Hall of Fame. Coached some of the greats, made some of the greats, has a coaching tree. Every check that needs to be checked to put this guy in the Hall of Fame as a first ballot. Mind you, I'm going to keep placing emphasis on first ballot because that's the discussion. That's what makes this egregious, right? So he didn't meet the criteria. My thing is, the voting process is filled with reporters, analysts, other guys that feel deserving to place a vote in the Hall of Fame. Show yourself. Let me see your face. Come on record and illustrate to all of us why you voted against Bill Belichick. So far, it's only been one person. And the excuse that they gave is just not valid enough for me. Oh, there's other guys that might miss the mark on becoming a Hall of Famer, so I voted on them, thinking that everybody else would vote for Bill Belichick anyway. That's not good enough for me. And it's 10 other guys. Show us who you are. Expose yourself. Real talk. I want to know. Show me your face and say, hey, I didn't vote for Bill Belichick because of this. And of course, a lot of things are leaning towards Spygate, Deflategate, the cheating scandals. Let's keep it a buck. Everybody makes mistakes, right? And he paid for those mistakes with both of those accusations, the Deflategate situation and the Spygate situation with the Jets and all of that shit. He paid for that. I think the owner got like a $500,000 fine and got deducted a draft pick, a first-round draft pick, and Bill Belichick got like $1 million fine or whatever the max was at the time. He paid for that. And let's keep it a buck, too. Not only did he win multiple championships prior to Spygate, but he also won multiple after Spygate. So how much legitimacy does that argument hold? Not very much. To keep a man like Bill Belichick out of the Hall of Fame is an egregious mistake that needs to be corrected ASAP. Because I was watching Get Up earlier today, right? And I heard Dan Orlowski say something that made a lot of sense. He said, if your reasoning for not making Bill Belichick a first ballot Hall of Famer is because of the cheating scandals, what about the players that were involved in the cheating scandals, that were aware of the cheating scandals? Are you going to hold back Tom Brady from being a first ballot Hall of Famer as well? Right? There's guys that were on those teams when those scandals took place that are currently in the Hall of Fame. You didn't pull that card with them. Why are we pulling it with Belichick? Why did we pull it with Terrell Owens a few years back? Him not being in the Hall of Fame on his first ballot is also an egregious take. Here's the thing when it comes to these voters and the emotional aspect that goes into who you vote for or who you would consider to be first ballot. What you think is irrelevant, right? How you feel about that person is irrelevant. There's something called the morality clause. It's literally only for baseball, which is why Pete Rose, which is why Barry Bonds, which is why all of these guys that use steroids aren't in the Hall of Fame. The morality clause basically highlights things that you did maybe off the field, potentially to spite the game, like cheating, shit like that. That applies for baseball. Is it still egregious that Barry Bonds, the greatest baseball player of all time, isn't in the Hall of Fame, considering what he did prior to the steroids? Of course it is. But here's the kicker. The NFL does not have that in the bylaws for the Hall of Fame. So that shit don't apply to the NFL. But still and just, voters consistently, when evaluating who should enter or not enter the Hall of Fame on their first ballot, use this example. Use this reasoning. And I know y'all do. I'm not stupid. I was born at night, not last night. Let's keep it a buck. Y'all used it on T.O., calling him a cancer. The cheerlead led by Skip Bayless. Oh, T.O. stands for Team Obliterator. You called him a cancer in the locker room. You said that's why he couldn't stay consistent. He was on 3 separate teams, but he was all pro on those 3 separate teams. What he did in between the lines should not get blurred. And let's keep it a buck. Outside of football, T.O. never really got into any trouble. So to hold him back from being a first ballot Hall of Famer is stupid to me. Now you doing this shit to Bill Belichick because of the cheating scandal, from what I'm hearing, when you don't have the morality clause like baseball does for the Hall of Fame and the bylaws, which should make that null and void how you feel about a specific player. And there are voters that have had encounters with these Hall of Famers. So now they feel like they have a certain level of power above them. Oh, you know, you had the power during your career to talk to me the way you wanted to talk to me in a disrespectful tone or manner or whatever the case may be. Now I hold the power on whether you're a first ballot Hall of Famer or not. That's bullshit. Because some of these guys were reporters and whatnot. And a lot of the rhetoric around the situation also is, I didn't like the way he talked to me. You know, Bill Belichick, he wasn't known to be a guy that was candy to the media. So I don't like the way he talks to me. And now the tables have turned and I hold the cards to whether you make it into the Hall of Fame as a first ballot or not. And I'm returning the favor to you. All of this is bullshit. You guys need to get outside of your own ego, right? And do what's right, because you're making a mockery of the NFL. And the NFL has always been known to be one of the better Hall of Fames out there. One of the more strict Hall of Fames, but the more respected Hall of Fames out of all of the sports, over basketball, over baseball, whoever you could think of. And we know there's a strict policy to get in. But sometimes when you look at a guy and you understand his resume and you know who the hell he is and where he came from, there's no doubt about it whether or not they should be first ballot Hall of Famer. Excuse me. And of course, human emotion takes place like I illustrated earlier, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't. And using a bystander effect, oh, I voted for these guys because this is the last opportunity for them to get in, and I thought everybody else was going to vote for Bill Belichick, is stupid. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't. Don't give me that bullshit. I don't believe you. I don't. I believe all of this shit has a hidden agenda. You didn't like the way he moved when he was a head coach, and you didn't like the way he treated you when he was a head coach and you were interviewing him or asking him questions after the game, post-game conference. You didn't like it, so now you feel like the cards are in your hands and you could do what the hell you want to do. Show your face is all I say. Stand on what you, hey, I'm a firm believer in standing on business. So even if you feel like what you did was right, stand on that shit. Show your face and let us know who you are. Real talk. But I'm going to move on. That's all I have to say about that. If you like the video, please drop a follow, subscribe to the channel, drop a like for your boy. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. These takes are going to come rapidly, man. So if you enjoy my takes in the podcast form, let me know down in the comments, man. OG out. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that sub button. Also, drop a like on the content. And while you at it, check out these 2 videos you see on the screen. OG out.